Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I am Jeremy Lambert. That is Stephen Jensen, and shout out as always the Big Dick MLJ for the intro. Jensen, before we get into wrestling, what do you want to talk about?
All right, everyone, got some good news. I don't know if I may get asked this a little bit later on, depending on who's in here right now and who's trickling in. But before we get started, I can officially say I have been promoted. So it finally happened with the shoot job. I got the official offer, I think Monday. I got the official offer. Told a couple people, told Jeremy and a few others, and so it finally happened. It's a good feeling. It's good to finally finish that story, and now on to Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's been, asking and following along with this. They told me that they've known that they've had this offer ready for me since December 14th. They told me, and it took that long for our HR team. And there was 8 people. It was like a log jam of people getting promoted, leaving, and me and stuff. And anyway, it finally has been figured out, and I finally have gotten the promotion. So yes, thank you very much for everyone who asked, and we can finally stop talking about it on the show. If I can finally just move on, story finished, and now we got to all focus on Cody.
Yeah, David Buster's, damn it.
That was the only way I felt appropriate to celebrate that, and it happened to line up with, yes, you were wearing your Dave & Buster's hoodie. I
do not work at Dave & Buster's, by the way. If people want to start swarming Dave & Buster's or asking for me Dave & Buster's, I do not work at Dave & Buster's, but I do frequent Dave & Buster's fairly often on Wednesdays for the half off Wednesdays. So yes, I won this completely on free credits. Anyway, yeah, Dave & Buster's, damn it, go celebrate Dave & Buster's.
I was gonna play pyro music that was happening, but it's not good. This. There we go. There's some pyro going on.
Nice.
Mini backgrounds. Yeah.
I thought about buying some cheap confetti or something, but then I'd have to clean it up. I was pop it here, and then I was I'd have to take forever to get it off my floor and off my desk and stuff.
Yeah, that's too much to do all that. I did made it rain Monopoly money, and we're still finding Monopoly money behind the desk and underneath stuff. It's when you got little pieces of confetti doing that. No, too much. No. Way too much.
And I'm also afraid that I would Trevor Outlaw myself live on air and accidentally shoot the gun right into my own dick on accident. Just for people that know Trevor Outlaw years ago at Spring Break, we actually interviewed him about this not that long ago. And he if y'all can find the clip, it's so funny. It was during Joey Janela's Spring Break. I'm almost positive it was during we're still in the early of the show, the Cluster F. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I think it was that. I'm pretty sure it was that match. And he was standing on the entrance ramp or whatever you want to call it for GCW, that little entrance area. And he had the confetti popper, and he didn't realize it was pointing the wrong direction. He hit the thing, and it just shot straight into his own dick, and he fell over. So really funny clip. I do not want to recreate that though on accident, but yeah, once again, thanks to everybody who's over the last 3 months who's reached out. I had a lot of people DMing me and messaging me, and it was a lot of pressure because I was I don't know why this is taking so long outside of the excuses they're giving me, but it's done. So appreciate y'all once again, and we can stop talking about my job pretty much forever now, which is nice. I can keep the two totally separate now. This and my shoot job. So.
Ryan sends a super chat, says congratulations on the promotion, Jensen. I can't stay for the stream, wanted to show you some love. Thanks, Ryan. We appreciate it, buddy. Guys, you can leave a super chats if you would like. Get your question, comment, statement read on air. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Oh, look at that. The pyro worked.
Yeah.
Pyro worked. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Fightful Select. We have a Fightful Select Discord now. If you are on Discord, or if you're a member of Fightful Select, I think you can get through that way. If you are not subscribed to Fightful Select and you would like a link to the Discord, if I find you trustworthy, send me a DM and I'll get you a link to the Discord, because I want people to be there if they want to be there and they're going to be good pals about it. I'm not sending this link to assholes online, or just past 5 minutes. I can get away with saying that. I'm not sending it to jerks, because there's plenty of those on Twitter, and that's why we got a Discord, so we don't have to deal with any of these jerks. I think that's everything. Look at Maggie. Maggie's here showing some love. Maggie, I think Maggie's been the top supporter of the job search, certainly from anybody in our chat, outside in our circle.
Yes, to pull back the curtain a little bit, this is how much I appreciated Maggie keeping up with that and asking that. She's not on Twitter at the moment, or at least wasn't the other day. I went to DM her to like let her know that I got the job. I had once again a small circle of people that I was just giving a heads up to ahead of time, like once I finally heard for sure. And I couldn't DM her because she was not on Twitter. So I reached out. I got her WhatsApp from a mutual friend so that I could message her. Like, that's how much I was like, Maggie, you got to know, like, you've been asking, I'm going to tell you first. So I made sure to tell Maggie already. She's one of the few people that knew. And she even said that she was moving like a hair or a nail appointment or something this morning so that she can make it to the show live to watch this morning. Like, so Maggie's a real one. I really appreciate Maggie. Thank you very much for being here and for all the support and for the friendship. I really, really appreciate it for real.
All right, Jensen, let's get into it. Let's start with this big old loser that for some reason you seem to support. I got a new bumper for Cody. It's not really new, but here we go.
But see, Cody, he's an idiot.
Oh my God.
He's a loser, Jensen. He lost on Monday. He lost to Drew McIntyre. He should be forced to give up his WrestleMania spot to Drew McIntyre, and a winner. Someone who knows how to stack up victories. It's like he stacked up Cody Rhodes on his back and shoulders and pinned him for the 1, 2, 3 on Raw. Please defend your loser idiot favorite wrestler.
So I'll preface this by saying something that might surprise some people, but probably not if you follow this show. Drew McIntyre rules. Okay, like I have nothing against Drew McIntyre. Like outside of Cody, Drew's my favorite person in the company. Like, so it's one of those things where, like, if Cody was gonna take an L to anyone, I'm actually glad it was Drew, because like Drew should win the World Heavyweight Championship in my opinion. Like, he should be, if they're gonna have 2 world champions, Drew should be one of those champions in my opinion. The way that they did it was also obviously a callback and potential foreshadowing at the same time. Like, to have Solo come out, it's funny how he comes out with like the hood and stuff. Like, people don't know it's him. Like, it's clearly Solo. Yeah, it's clearly him, and he always has the thumb, and then he does the reveal after. He'll always like hit it, then like hit the ground, and be like, he pulls the hood back, and people are like, "We know it's you, dude. We saw the taped thumb right when he came out." But obviously the way that Cody lost was a callback to WrestleMania with Solo doing the thumb, and Cody being outnumbered, basically outsmarted and outnumbered, basically. And it's also foreshadowing, because I think the same situation is going to happen at WrestleMania again, where multiple Bloodline members will come out. Cody's union or whatever is going to start blocking them from getting involved. Solo will get back up on that ring apron again with his thumb, but like either Cody will be ready for it, or there's going to be someone behind him like to catch the thumb or something, like to block it for Cody. Like, so this is only the second time I think Cody's been pinned since being back in WWE.
Yeah,
like,
Roman was the other one.
Yeah, Roman pinned him. Did he tap to Brock? He lost one match to Brock.
Yeah, he did. He did lose to Brock. He passed out, didn't he?
Is that what I think that's what it was. He definitely wouldn't have tapped. So, but I mean, and that's what sucks about this too, is like with the Brock stuff, like with all the history that's going to get rewritten probably with
that
Brock,
footage doesn't exist anymore,
right?
So we don't have to act like it's a real thing,
right? But that's kind of that sucks for Cody, obviously, like that. Well, and we don't need to get into all that, but I mean, just like the history in general, like I mean, the streak and the Cena match and SummerSlam, there's like just so much stuff that Brock was in, so many WrestleMania moments and main events that we're just gonna have to like pretend didn't happen. The streak being the biggest, of course, but like. Then for Cody this year, it's like when you go back and look at because most of what he did between WrestleMania and WrestleMania, it was the trilogy with Brock. That was like a big chunk of this kind of comeback to the title. And obviously, I understand not mentioning Brock. Like I'm not saying that they should mention Brock. I completely understand the position WWE's in with that, but it is kind of cruddy where it's like, damn, that was like a huge part of this past year for Cody, and we're not gonna. It's like it never happened, you know.
Yeah, they just got to completely erase the Brock Lesnar portion. So he feuded with Dominic, or had the stuff with Dominic, did War Games, and then went right into the story. That's it. We don't know what happened.
Nakamura.
Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah,
I like the Nakamura feud. I don't have a problem with it.
It was good. The problem is Nakamura just looked. He was a loser. That's the biggest loser right there, Nakamura. He didn't win it all. He used the mist. And that was all he got on Cody. But yeah, I did kind of forget about the Nakamura stuff. You know, what happened like a month ago.
It's like still happening technically on like the house shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just had like a bull rope match like really recently. But
yeah, that was on Raw. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, with this being Drew getting the win, that's considering once again the Brock stuff technically really never happened, but he also didn't get pinned by Brock, Cody. That is. Cody got pinned by Roman at WrestleMania and by Drew. I mean, I really don't have much of a problem with it. I really don't because of who it was. It's Drew. Drew once again should be a world champion. I also think this is a pretty good sign that Drew's staying with the WWE. Like I don't think they're gonna have Drew pin Cody heading into WrestleMania, and like he's just gonna go over to AEW in a few months. Like I just don't see that happening. So yeah, I have less of a problem with it than most people probably think with me being a Cody fan. One, because I'm also a Drew fan, and two, because like because of the way it was done, it was not a clean victory, and it's all just once again callbacks and foreshadowing for this WrestleMania. Just another reason for me to think that Cody is going to finish the story at WrestleMania over Roman.
It's also to set up Seth coming to Cody's aid. Essentially, because they had the backstage segment where Seth was like, see, this is what happens. You know, this is what happened to you last year. Happened to you again. You need me as your shield. You need me out there because this is what they're going to do to you at WrestleMania. They got to set up the tag team match between Cody, Seth, and Rock and Roman, which I assume gets announced Saturday. Cody and Seth are on the Grayson Waller effect. An Elimination Chamber. So I assume that the challenge is at least issued. Maybe it becomes official. Whatever happens on that. But I think that's probably going to get set up on Saturday. But it's to give more credence to Seth being there and in a point of Seth actually needing to be there. That's another reason why I actually really like this is, you know, Seth saying, hey, I'll be your shield. Like, should Cody accept that? Yes, just based on last year alone. But now, like, it happening here on Raw, it happening with Drew, who the Bloodline doesn't like Drew. You know, they screwed over Drew at Clash at the Castle. Like, if you're Seth, you're basically saying like they did this with Drew. They helped Drew beat you. Can you imagine the lengths they're gonna go to help Roman retain again? Like, you need me out there. You need me in your corner. And then Cody's actually got to be like, yeah, I do. I can't go in there with the same game plan I had last year because I lost last year. And now I'm not even beating Drew McIntyre because they're out to get me. So yes, I do need you. So I thought it was a good piece of business, like all around. And it also sets up, let's say Cody does finish the story, win the title. I think Drew's going to beat Seth. I was going to say like it sets up a Cody and Drew clash afterwards. But if they're both your champions, then I don't know if they're going to do that because I don't think they're going to unify the titles or anything. Oh, I guess Drew will just beat Seth and Cody will lose to Roman, and then Cody can feud with Drew and maybe he'll win that title, or he'll just continue to be a loser and he'll lose to Drew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I agree with everything up until the last line. I think that I definitely think that Drew should beat Seth. Like Drew should be the next world champion. If they're gonna have, once again, I gotta keep prefacing, if they're gonna continue to have 2 champions. Really, like, this is new era WWE and everything, like, new feel, a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. This is coming from somebody who I was reeled out on WWE for the last handful of years, especially. And I think I thoroughly have been enjoying the WWE product lately. And obviously a lot of it has to do with me being a Cody fan, but I really like Roman and his positioning in the company and as the long-term champion. I love The Rock turning heel. I do. I think this is really great television. I like the way that they're shooting stuff, like, visually. I like how they're doing like movie trailer style promos for like their matchups and stuff, and just the graphics are different. It does feel very fresh. And part of that for me is like, why wouldn't you just have one world champion that's on both Raw and SmackDown at this point again? Like, that's not that unfathomable. Like, why wouldn't you just want to have Cody on both shows? He's your biggest star. He's the face of your company. He's selling. They're doing like 7,000 tickets for untelevised house shows right now. Like a few years ago, they were talking about getting rid of all the house shows because people weren't showing up. And now, and once again, I can't just say this is just Cody. Not just, but he is a big part of this. Like, he's a part of the WWE experience now. Is like it was back in the day with like, the Hulkster or like any of these like big time baby faces. You have Cody, like when you go to see a WWE show, especially like an untelevised show now, at the very least, if you can get anywhere near the guardrail by the end of that show, Cody's sticking around for a half hour to sign stuff, to take pictures, to, you know what I mean? It's like, this is just a totally different vibe to kind of, and now granted, there's the backstage, there's the Vince stuff, there's other stuff, there's elephants in the room here, like people around him, where more stuff's going to come out from that. WWE's not a perfect place. There's a lot of, that's a whole other conversation in itself. But as far as like what we're seeing on the television, and I also don't want to take away from the performers either. Like, the wrestlers have nothing to do with the Vince stuff. Most of them, I should say. Like, we don't know who all is involved, but you know what I mean. Like I'm not going to sit here and like bash the WWE product when like the wrestlers are out there busting their asses and putting on great shows, and their production team is killing it, and like all this stuff is going really, really good. There are some bad eggs, and they need to be figured out, but that's not everybody in the company. I don't want everybody to be held to that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where like when you have the WWE in the position that they're in right now, with Cody being your white hot white meat baby face, I would just have him I just have him have there would just be one WWE champion, but if they're going to continue to have 2, it should be Drew and Cody. I'd also expect Cody to bring back the Winged Eagle title. Like, he's teased that a lot. I think they'll bring back like the old school design or some sort of hybrid of that. And then also the one other thing we got to keep in mind is Damian Priest still carrying this briefcase around.
No one needs to keep that in mind. They forgot about him. So,
well, the only reason I say that is because like come WrestleMania, I brought this up before, but like that would be I don't think they're going to do this, but that would be an out that they would have in the tag team match. You wouldn't have to have Seth and Cody or Roman and Rock lose night 1 if Damian came out and cashed the briefcase in. I don't think it's a good idea necessarily. It's a good idea to keep anybody from getting pinned in that match heading into night 2. In that sense, it's a good idea. But like, Damian just seems, this isn't even his fault, but it's the booking, but he seems 10 notches below the level of everyone else we're talking about right now. Like, you got the whole group of people we're discussing, and then it feels like 10th down the list is Damian Priest holding the guaranteed title shot. So they got to kind of figure that out too. Like, maybe Damian Priest comes out night 1, wins the title from Seth Rollins, and then it's like, but Damian.
The problem with that is they're doing Elimination Chamber on Saturday. The winner of Elimination Chamber gets title shot against Seth, which is probably going to be night 2, which is probably going to be Drew. You're not beating Seth night 1, and then you're doing Drew and Damian night 2. You're not doing that.
I guess I was thinking triple threat, but there would be no reason for Seth to, like, he wouldn't automatically get like a rematch, right? Once again, these aren't good. These are just like spitballing ideas because of the situation we're in. Because I don't think even a month ago, the plan was The Rock and Roman as a tag team against Seth and Cody night 1. I think it was Rock versus Roman WrestleMania, and they were going to skip Cody till later. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, honestly, personally, I'd like Damian Priest just to lose the briefcase. Like, I just don't even want that even like as a thought right now, honestly.
I don't think Priest is getting involved at all night 1. Maybe he does something night 2. Maybe if Seth beats Drew night 2, which I don't think should happen. I think Drew should win. Maybe Priest cashes in off of that. I don't think he's getting involved at all night 1. I think you're beating Rock or Cody. Rock makes sense because he can take a loss. He's not the full-time guy. He's not a champion. He's not likely wrestling night 2 like the other 3 are. And you can tell a story off of a Rock loss. You can tell a story of Roman basically casts aside the Rock of like, you lost. So my vision for this, you're not going to like it, Jensen, but that's okay. My vision for it is Rock loses night 1. Cody pins him night 1. Okay. Roman beats Cody night 2. Sorry. But Roman beats Cody night 2. And then Rock kind of continues to show up every now and again. But Roman's on a part-time schedule at this point. But eventually, as the months go on into the year, like Rock just kind of a little shady towards things. And Roman's not very trusting of him. And they eventually jumped the Rock out of the bloodline. It's like you came back and you nearly ruined everything. You almost let this Cody Rhodes, who I beat the year before, you let him beat you at WrestleMania. You let him infiltrate us. You let him get in your head. You almost cost everything I'd built up for the past 3 years by coming back so you can pander to the crowd and make it seem like you were part of the family, but you're never part of the family. The things you did, I did twice over in WWE. I took this company to new heights, $1 billion deals, all this kind of stuff. So that's setting up Rock and Roman at Mania next year. I don't know what Cody's doing. I'm not worried about Cody in this scenario. Sorry. But that's one scenario I see. Cody losing night 1 is another scenario that has him win night 2. If he loses night 1, you do some more shenanigan interference because they love that. Or The Rock pins Cody. And that sets up maybe Rock and Cody, a Saudi show, SummerSlam. Maybe it is a very long game for The Rock, and you're setting up Rock and Cody for Mania next year. And then Rock and Roman is the year after that. I don't know if Rock is thinking that long of a long game, but it's something to think about. If Cody loses night 1, wins the title night 2, and then Rock can look at Roman like, I beat this dude. I served him up on a silver platter for you. And you failed the family. That's going to turn Roman babyface. And I don't know if they're going to go Roman Rock babyface, what the dynamic is there. But that's another scenario, is Cody losing night 1. I don't see Seth or Roman losing night 1. I don't think either of those make sense.
Yeah, I mean, every scenario you just laid out, I think is possible. It's just hard for me to think, even though The Rock's involved again, and he's like a part owner of the company and everything. Excuse me. I think that it's tough to like. I think you could plan out for next year. I think you could plan Rock and Roman for next year. But like planning 2 WrestleManias out with The Rock, like with so much stuff.
Yeah, it's a little much. Yeah.
But I do think that we'll get Rock versus Cody 1-on-1 at some point, for sure, whether it's WrestleMania or a big Saudi show or something. I do agree with that. And there's a lot of ways they can go with the night 1 tag team match because of that reason. Like, I'm not necessarily upset with the idea of Cody losing night 1 if he wins night 2. I definitely can't see him lose night 1 and then also lose night 2. Like, I don't know why you do that.
Roman should stack Seth and Cody night 1 and then just pin Cody night 2. Just beat all these dudes. Knowledge.
Well, the other thing is, and this is kind of say this a little bit more for the AEW spotlights, but I mean, I also get nervous, even just the idea of the 2 nights when, I mean, last night Hangman looked like he went down with an ankle injury potentially. Like that looked pretty nasty. And like, that's, their pay-per-views coming up very soon. And it's like, that kind of stuff worries me too. Like 2-night WrestleManias, there's still like a few weeks before WrestleMania. People can get hurt. Like things can change. I don't. They have to be really smart and really. I think that just be really careful with Cody, especially Cody and Roman, making sure that they get to their match on night 2. Night 1 should be safe. Knock on wood, because
Roman's not wrestling. Roman's not wrestling between now and WrestleMania.
No, I'm talking about even night 1 of WrestleMania though. Like you still have that match, but then again, like. They should be able to do it in a way that like those 4 guys shouldn't have to do hardly anything in that match. Like it's going to be like a Rock versus Hogan type atmosphere. I feel like where like they could just all be in the ring together and like looking at the crowd and stuff. And like the people are just going to be going nuts. Like the Rock barely has to wrestle at all on night 1. He just has to make it into the ring.
Here's the thing. Seth and Cody are going to go out there, and certainly Seth. Cody to a lesser extent. They're gonna be idiots. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna work real as they should. Honestly, I'm not saying they're wrong for doing this. I think Rock even is gonna go out there and like really try his best to just do everything he can or what he's capable of in night 1, because who knows when he's gonna wrestle again. But Seth and Cody are definitely gonna go out there to put on one of the best tag team matches they possibly can. I'm in agreement with you of like that the moment itself and the atmosphere itself is going to be able to take over, and you could probably get away with doing the minimum, but they're all going to go out there. And I think Seth to the biggest extent, because he's never really headlined WrestleMania, and this is a big shot for him, and he knows it, even though he's coming off of a knee injury, he's going to go out there and he's going to work a Seth Rollins match.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll definitely, especially if he's going to be losing night 2, like he knows he's going to be losing the title the next night, and he might take some time off and like heal some of these nagging injuries and stuff that he's been dealing with. Like, so he probably just go all out, blaze of glory at WrestleMania, and also help Cody help Cody win in the main event of night 2. I think unless Seth turns, which that would be devastating, and I think it would be a bad move too, because he's so over as a babyface right now. I wouldn't turn him.
So what did you think of The Rock's promo on SmackDown? Because a lot of people were looking for the Easter eggs of Rock pointed at Roman and said, "I'm going to ensure you lose," and he's looking over at Roman and pointing to him. He did the acknowledge with the L instead of the real acknowledgement. People are looking at the Easter eggs there. So what'd you think of the promo overall? Did you think he was dropping some hints? Rock's talk about the long game. We just booked a scenario. Rock Roman WrestleMania next year. Rock Cody potentially WrestleMania next year. We're looking 2 years out for long game, Mr. Long Game here. What'd you think of it?
Well, I'll say this first off. If they do Rock and Roman next year at WrestleMania, it shouldn't be for the title. Like,
yes, it should.
It shouldn't be for the title. But if we but I do think we're gonna get that match next year. I really do think we're gonna get Rock and Roman 1-on-1 next year. So it's really just a matter of like when they want to have the two of them really going at odds. I think on SmackDown, well, first of all, like just seeing The Rock in like kind of like the old school dress shirt material, like a hybrid of that with the vest that he used to like. I like how much he's leaning into the, Rocky Sucks, the old school, The Rock that we used to know from like the corporation and stuff. Or like, even the Nation a little bit. He's like got this like hybrid of like his like heel personas all together right now, which I think that's actually really cool. The promo itself, do I think there's Easter eggs in that? Probably, maybe to a degree that they can use later on, even if they didn't mean to. The Rock doing that thing with his hand, with that instead of that, I feel like that was just a mistake. I don't think there was anything like. I think he just didn't. I don't think he was thinking. I think he just put his hand up like that, and some. When people give like the middle finger and stuff, it always looks different. Some people tuck their thumb in, sometimes some people don't and stuff. They
got that one, they got that.
Yes,
one.
yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
But like, there's plenty of people who do that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's all going to look a little bit different. I think that he just put his hand up, and like, but everyone's like reading really into it. But they also could use it later on if they wanted to, and like use that as a thing, as like an Easter egg. Zarian, what's up, Zarian in the chat said, Rock's joining Bullet Club and he's going to NJPW. Yeah, I think that's it. He was holding up the Hangman. That was a shout out to Hangman Page. Yeah, I don't know. I'll say this. I liked the Rock's heel promo. I like that he's aligned officially with the Bloodline, but it's obviously a matter of time before him and Roman are, at each other, and like they're gonna build for a one-on-one match between the two of them. Like we've said before, like that's what they were going to do this year. I'm confident like that was going to be the match this year. The Rock came back and he was like, all right, like this is the time is now, like I'm back, like let's just do it right now. And then like the Cody support was way too strong, and they were like, well, we can wait till next year. The Rock's still gonna be the Rock next year, so we'll just do it next year,
I think even if they weren't trying to do Easter eggs, they will make something out of it at some point, depending on which way they go with the story. My theory is that Rock just doesn't watch the product, and that's why he didn't know Cody was as hot as he was, and he's just like, I'm just going to come back and get this match. It'll be fine. He has no idea how Roman does the finger pointing, so he's like, yes, this is how we do it, right? I just think Rock has no idea what's going on in the world of WWE. He just came back. He's like, I'm going to be the Rock. It's going to be great. And then he realized, oh, wait, there's actually a babyface who's like super over that the crowd wants. And now we've got to change everything. And now we just got to make something out of nothing. I do think we're going to get Rock and Roman at some point. I do think Rock's going to be the babyface because I think he wanted to come back and be cheered. I don't think he wanted to come back and be heel Rock. It's easy for him. He's slipped right into it. It's his promo was, and this is another point of not watching the product. He's like, oh, Cody just wants a rematch. He got beat. It doesn't work like that. If the 49ers, they got beat by the Chiefs, they don't just get a rematch. Well, if the 49ers win the NFC title game again next year, like Cody won the Rumble, they do kind of just get a rematch in the Super Bowl. So he just completely disregarded the Rumble stuff, which, yeah, on one hand, you can say, well, Rock's not watching the product, which is my theory. On the other hand, it's just like, well, he's just getting the heat on himself and Bloodline and making Cody out to look like a fool, or making Cody out to make it look like he didn't earn it. He's just asking for this, so we're sympathetic towards Cody, which is very possible. And I do think Rock is smart enough to understand what he's doing out there. But again, I think Rock was coming back as a babyface. He wanted to be cheered. He thought he was going to be cheered. There was a bigger babyface than him. He's had to go heel Rock. He's doing a great job with it, but this was not the original plan.
I agree with everything you just said. The comparison he gave with like the NFL was so weird because, like you just said, it just didn't make sense, and it also discredits like the one thing that we still don't know that hasn't been fully explained to my knowledge, and they probably won't because like it's kind of unexplainable, is Cody specifically saying that he was not taking a shot at WrestleMania. My goalpost has changed. So like that's the one thing where Cody does look weird because like he did win the Royal Rumble. He did earn his rematch to call his shot. After the Royal Rumble, he's in the ring pointing at Roman. Roman's standing up, and the two of them are looking at each other and yelling at each other. And Seth Rollins is sitting down in his press box because he knows he's been boxed out of this scenario because Cody's going to choose Roman. And then the next thing we know, Cody's talking about, I still want that title from you, just not at WrestleMania. And then the next time we hear from him, he's like, screw that. I want my shot at WrestleMania. So like in that sense, The Rock is kind of right as from like the, you had your chance, no takesy backsies. Like, why, like, you know what I mean? Like you gave it to me and now you want it back. But it's,
I think the biggest explanation for Cody is,
but see, Cody, he's an idiot.
He's just an idiot.
Well, but you can go with it's like heavily implied kind of that the idea here, I feel like, is when The Rock and Cody, I almost said that. When they met, when he got the counseling or whatever from The Rock and decided to hand it off to The Rock when he did, you can run it back. And I think we've talked about this on the show a little bit in past weeks. You can run it back a little bit and Cody can be like, when we made that agreement for me to take my shot later on, I didn't realize you were joining Roman. Like, obviously, my plans have changed.
Because he's an idiot.
Well, we're gonna get a whole Cody army of people coming out and helping him at WrestleMania, and as long as he finishes this, now there's still the chance, like you said, there's still a chance Roman just straight up beats Cody at WrestleMania. But I just feel like that is especially right now. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna get into all this too much, but like, I'm just gonna like the Cena stuff on Howard Stern. You need a good guy face of your company right now. Like that was a bad look yesterday for Cena. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't know why he answered the questions the way he did. I get his loyalty to Vince. I understand the position he's in, but at the same time, it was disappointing as a Cena fan because it sounded like it was like the Triple H type of answers, and I'm over here like Cody can answer these questions way better than these people can, which is crazy to me. But like, when you're in this position where like John Cena's bad look recently, Brock's, terrible look recently, there's like all these people at the top of the show that like have been the faces of their company. And Hogan, obviously, like with his recent history and stuff, being a former face of the company. You can even look into, I don't even want to throw him under the bus. You can look at the past of Steve Austin. He's had some stuff that like were terrible looks in his past as well. And it's like, you just don't have that with Cody, and you're not going to. Like it's the safest.
But you don't have that with Roman.
No, you don't. But you don't. I'm not. Thank you for saying that. I don't want that to even be implied that I'm lumping Roman into this at all. I'm not. I'm just saying that like it's time for a new top good guy in the company, and like it's Cody, and you don't have to worry about any of the BS with him.
I'm gonna just kind of troll you a little bit now. Cody's already the face, though. Why does he need the title to continue to be this person?
Because then what? Because otherwise, what's the point? Like, why would anybody want to be a professional wrestler? That, I mean, I know the money and stuff, I get that, but like, what? Even in kayfabe, why would anybody want to be the face of the company but can't be the champion? That doesn't make any sense. Like, especially in a business where the titles are quote unquote fake. Like, they're deciding who carries the championships and who's the face of your company. The face of the company and the world's champion usually coincide with one another. It's usually either the same person, especially with two world champions on the same company. So like, if you're Cody Rhodes, I think that would make him sounding like an even bigger idiot if he was like, I mean, here's the thing. I've said that myself, that like Cody's already won. The Cody fans have already won, even if he isn't the champion. I agree I do stand by that, because like when you see him, calling out for people in the crowd who are blind to walk up and get a hug from him, and you see all the stuff, he wants to do all the make-a-wishes and all the, like, Cody wants to be that guy, whether he's the champion or not. But then why not have him be the world champion? Like, another thing is Roman's had this thing for long enough. This isn't like Roman hasn't had his chance. He's had this title for 1,000+ days or whatever, and like at some point someone else it's someone else's turn eventually, and like there's no better opportunity than Cody right now to be that guy.
It's not his turn. You don't get turns like it's basketball. It's like, oh, it's your turn to shoot the ball now. The best player keeps taking the most shots. Roman Reigns is the best player. He's going to keep taking the shots.
Well, then that's where I'd sort of disagreeing, right? Well, I'd agree with the best player takes the shots thing for sure. But I think that Cody's the best player also, because people could even look at Roman's title, even especially the last year. But I mean, most of his title run, storyline wise, has been super entertaining for the most part. Roman's he's a great athlete. The guy played for my Minnesota Vikings briefly. School Vikings. But I'm just saying, like, most of the time at the end of a Roman Reigns title match, people are complaining about the finish. They're always like, yeah, the match was like okay, or sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the matches are really boring, to be honest. Sometimes he just goes out there and like walks around in circles for like a half hour, it seems like, and then like the Bloodline gets involved and then he pins someone and that's it. Cody, I think Cody legitimately is the best. He might not be like box by box, like the best talker, the best wrestler, the best this, the best that, but I think collectively he's like, if you were to give him an EA score, like does he get a higher score than Roman or not? I don't even know.
I mean, if you're going to go by these 2K ratings, he's got a lower score than Rhea Ripley. So you don't want to put the world title on Rhea Ripley?
That's a little different. But
why? You're using 2K ratings here, Jensen.
Is she the highest rated person in the game?
Roman's rating hasn't been revealed. I assume Roman's
going to be the highest. Roman's going to be the highest. He's got to be. And listen, I'm not mad with Rhea, but like it's also like it's what's the word? It's relative, right? Because it's like Rhea, I can see Rhea as being, there's a pretty big gap between Rhea Ripley and like some of like the lower tiered women, I feel like, in the WWE. The higher tiered women are in like a different league. Like you have like your Rhea's, Bailey's, Becky's, Io, like, and there's a big group of Bianca. Like, there's a lot of really, really, really good women in the WWE. But then there's like somewhat of a drop off in some senses. You just don't. I don't know. That's, I guess, my biggest difference would be like, I think Rhea Ripley is like way better than like some of these other women on the show. Cody, it's maybe the gap's a little bit closer between him and some of the others. That's all I can think about is why you'd have Rhea above Cody on the rankings. But Rhea rules though. Like I love Rhea Ripley, so I'm not mad about that. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to cope also in my mind of like I'm trying to come up with scenarios, because now the more that I think about it, I'm like, there's probably 10 or 15 women in WWE right now that are like awesome. So like my argument is probably not even that good, to be honest. And then the other thing is I've seen people talking about women main eventing WrestleMania. I don't think that you should like specifically reserve WrestleMania for anybody, like regardless of gender, because I think you could also have a scenario where like women main event both nights one year. Like it just depends on who the women are, right? And what the stories are. I'll say this: I think Bailey should, like, Bailey I think has earned the right to main event one of the WrestleMania nights, but like with The Rock coming back, The Rock's just going to supersede everything, no matter who you are. So I just want to put that out there too.
I think the women, they lost their main event spot the moment CM Punk came back. Like that was going to be, I think Rollins and Punk was going to main event night one.
Yeah.
You know, Punk's injury happened. So maybe there was a shot that Becky or Rhea or Bailey and Io would get that spot. But then Rock was back basically before Punk even got hurt, because he came back day one. We didn't know if he was going to wrestle that night or not, but then that kind of pulled, like, Rock was always going to headline one of these nights. I don't know what the plan would have been though if Punk got hurt and they were going to go with Rock and Roman. Like, what would have been the night one main event? Seth and Drew? Like Cody, Seth and Drew? Like, I don't know. Maybe then the women would have had an argument. I think the moment Punk came back though, and I don't know if this is necessarily like people can blame Punk, but Seth is also kind of earned that main event spot.
Yeah.
He's never had it technically. Like I think when Punk came back, it was more a gesture to Seth than, hey, we're going to give Punk this spot. It was more like, hey, Seth, we want you to have this, because I think Seth was going to win that match.
You think Seth was going to beat Punk in WrestleMania?
Yeah.
That would have been really, really cool. Obviously, I would have wanted that to happen. And I think you're totally right about that too, which is kind of interesting and kind of ironic when you think about it, because let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Punk coming back, it was supposed to be Punk versus Rollins, night one of WrestleMania, but CM Punk's, this is good old Phil contradicting himself all the time, because CM Punk would have simultaneously been the guy who was going to main event WrestleMania, but he's also complaining that Bailey isn't main eventing WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, you can just never win with this guy.
Well, I don't think he was complaining about Bailey he was complaining after he'd gotten hurt.
Right, but I'm saying, but like in hindsight, like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, would he be advocating for Bailey if he was still in the mix? Or what, you know what I mean? Like,
probably not.
I just feel like Punk's just like, he's just like that. Like, it's, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but it just seems like, anyway. But the other thing is too, I think there was a possibility even if it wasn't Bailey, I think that there was a chance they were going to do maybe Rhea and Becky main eventing.
I think Becky and Rhea was going to main event over Bailey anyway. I think that was going to be the bigger choice, because they've been setting that up, teasing it for a while, even just like little backstage confrontations, and then they've gone really full bore with it over the past month or so. But I mean, Bailey and Io, that's been a story that's really has been told since the form of Damage Control. when SummerSlam. Like, yeah, they were aligned, but you've seen the story progress since then. That's a worthy main event match. It's not going to get it, but it's certainly a very worthy main event match. And it is, people last year was the debate with Charlotte and Rhea. Should that have main evented over the tag team match? I don't think it should have. Charlotte has made it known she wasn't thrilled with that because her argument was, hey, you win the Royal Rumble, you should get one of the main event spots. And I see people in the chat saying like they can fix a lot of it with just the wording. Hey, if they just said like the winner of the Royal Rumble gets a title shot at WrestleMania, not necessarily a main event at WrestleMania. I think that would fix a lot of things because now for the second straight year, you're taking out a woman who won the Royal Rumble and she's not getting a main event spot. And I do think that is a little disappointing and that's a little unfair to the women. I've always said that this story is what should matter. And unfortunately for the women here, even though Becky and Rhea has been building, Bayley and Io has been building, they've got The Rock, and The Rock ain't opening a WrestleMania. It's just not going to happen. But I think if you're looking at just story, Bayley and Io is the best story.
And I agree with I agree with that. And I want to stress this. I think that both Io and Bayley are fantastic. I think they're two of the best performers of either gender that WWE has. So like I have no problem with them being a main event. It's just this year not unlucky. It's just unlucky timing with everything else going on. Now, at the same time, for years, for a long time, especially since there's been two champions on this, not just like recently, but like years ago. This happened for a long time. People forget, like people would win the Royal Rumble. They'd choose a champion. They didn't necessarily main event WrestleMania. Like they would call it a WrestleMania main event, but they wouldn't be the last match on WrestleMania still. So this isn't really necessarily new, but when you have two Royal Rumbles and you have 2 nights of WrestleMania and you're still marketing the winner of each WrestleMania or each Royal Rumble match, main events WrestleMania. Yeah. All you have to do is just stop saying that. Just say the winner of each Royal Rumble gets to choose the champion they want to wrestle at WrestleMania. Problem solved. You don't say the word main event one time. And then, eventually you start promoting the one you choose as the actual main event for each show, leading up to it. But yeah, I think it's probably a good, unless you got anything else to add, that's probably a good stopping point on WWE right now. I mean, we're in a lot of ways, we're in the kind of the same boat we were in last week with Cody, except he's taking the L to Drew now. But once again, I don't really have a problem with that because it's Drew and the way that it was done. The Rock did this. Yeah. So The Rock,
Andy says those raw numbers in houses. Cody's been the biggest star in the spot for a couple months. Will suck so bad when we lose. Get ready. Acknowledge your tribal chief. That's all I'm saying.
No, he's gonna win. When we can all, like I've said, when so many of your heroes have been put into this light, and I don't want to lump all of them together. And there's some offenses are way worse than others. Trust me, that's a whole other conversation in itself. But so many of our heroes as professional wrestling fans, from the management to the top people to some of the biggest wrestling names, a lot of them wound up being disappointing in a lot of ways. Even Cena, like I said, the stuff he said at Howard Stern, I wasn't really happy with, but it also doesn't like take away all the Make-A-Wishes and all the other stuff. That's a tough spot as a Cena fan. It's disappointing in a lot of ways, but like, you just don't have to worry about this with Cody. It's just, he's your guy. He's the face of your company. He's healthy. He's in his prime. I feel like, I mean, you all know how I feel. Cody should be the champion after, coming out of WrestleMania. And I think when you're selling out 7,000 seat house shows based on Cody mainly, what more do you need?
You don't have to worry about it with your tribal chief either.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show. And I think it's been a run of great shows.
AEW Spotlight, AEW Dynamite last night. Thankfully, we had a good show, a tremendous show, one of the best shows ever. I was trying to make a joke about a lot better than Collision this week because there was no Collision. Wardlow's promo that got a lot of people talking.
Yeah,
Wardlow came out and showed some fire. He said, I've beaten all these people you've looked up to, the people who are better than you, whose body is still failing him. Or I guess that was a shot at MJF, then a shot at CM Punk. Like, I've destroyed all these guys. Now I'm coming. I'm going to take this title. He's going to be in something called Meat Madness, which is a play on March Madness at AEW Revolution. What'd you make of this Wardlow promo, Jensen?
So this was the best promo Wardlow's ever cut, for sure. Like, hands down, not even close. There were parts of it that were a little goofy and didn't like, but once he started getting cooking a little bit, I was like, I started respecting what he was doing out there. I'll preface this by saying, and I've talked about it in previous weeks, the Undisputed Kingdom is lame as fuck. I've no
losing.
No, yeah,
losers.
There's no.
You should form a group with Cody Rhodes.
Okay, but the Undisputed Kingdom, like, I will say this: Matt Taven showed out the other week. He was more. I've been watching Matt Taven for like 2 decades, and like that was the most interested I've been in him ever. Was the other week when he went over the top rope through a table head first. Mike Bennett, I've never been huge on. I like him as a human being, but I just have never been that impressed by him. He's been in every company, and it's always just kind of just is what it is. I've never been huge on him. Adam Cole, I love. I think Adam Cole's fantastic, but he's hurt. And the timing of them doing this whole group with him being the leader of it is awful timing to do this, the way that they're doing it. I've loved Roderick Strong forever as well. But and I imagine he'll probably beat Orange Cassidy for the international championship. But
maybe
he's the only one in this group that I don't know. But that's all once again to say that was my mindset coming into it. And Wardlow, I've talked about before, how just lame he's gotten. And somehow I was like, I don't know, I've ever seen anybody lose their personality based on losing a man bun before, but somehow that happened with him. He cut his man bun and he became generic instantly. But I don't think there's much they can do to get me interested in Taven or Bennett, no matter what they do.
They're the ROH tag team champions.
Right. Cole is hurt, so and they're just waiting for MJF to get back in a lot of ways, probably for him and MJF to go at it. So Wardlow was in a no man's land again. All of a sudden, it was he was already lost in the mix in other groups he'd been a part of, like the Pinnacle. He was already lost in the mix after beating MJF, and he's just been lost in the mix. And then he's in this other group where I felt like, oh, he's lost in the mix again. He's the enforcer of a lame ass group now. This isn't good for Wardlow. The smartest thing they could have done was exactly what happened last night. Him coming out by himself and just talking about everyone he's beat up. And then when you look at the list, you're like, oh shit, he's kind of making a point here. CM Punk, the real world champion.
He lost to CM Punk.
But he beat him down really good before the MJF.
He lost. Big deal that he beat him down really good. He still lost. That's like saying, oh, we did great in this basketball game. We put up the most points ever put up against this great elite defense. We put up 150 points against the best defense in the league. Well, you lost 152 to 150. Who cares that you put up 150 points against the best defense? You lost.
But it's the injuries we're talking about. It's the residual of the beatdown. That's the win for Wardlow. Is that Punk is still hurt right now. And
what's he gonna
play him?
Is that the stuff with Punk? I don't care about because he's not gonna feud with Punk. He's taking a shot at Punk, which is fine, but Punk's not there.
Right, I know, okay. But it's also just a small part of this. Punk's just the first name I'm mentioning. He has wins over Samoa Joe, who you mentioned, who is the current world champion, MJF, who was the former world champion. He destroyed MJF. There's plenty of people that Wardlow has beaten that are still in the company. Just the CM Punk thing is an icing on the cake because of, because he was able to put the jab out on him like that. Yeah. But the reason that's all important is because when you look at it on paper, and here's the other thing, Wardlow he's not even bad in the ring. It's been his booking. I actually don't even have a problem with Wardlow. every now and then he whips out like the dude can do like shooting stars and moonsaults and stuff, and like
he does the swanton all the time.
The swanton, yeah, like he's super athletic. He just doesn't really show it much because most of the time he's out there just doing powerbomb symphonies, and like that got really old. But when I was there live at his match against Cody in the steel cage in Atlanta a couple years ago. I think that was Wardlow's first AEW match. If not, it was like his first big AEW match.
Yeah,
and
his first big one.
And he lost, but he looked good in that match though. It was like really promising. It was like, oh, this, and he even said it in the promo last night. He's like, I'm a day one AEW guy who was being built as, I mean, we'll just say for what it is. He was being built as their Batista. He was the Batista to MJF's Triple H, and he broke out from that. And from there, he should have the trajectory. Like had the pandemic not happened the way that it did, I'm not blaming Tony Khan and stuff for this, but like had WWE not lost guys like Danielson, Adam Cole, had CM Punk not been available and all this stuff, Wardlow probably already would have been the AEW World Champion by now, based on the trajectory and who was available on the roster at the time. But because of just a whole mix of stuff happening, he just keeps getting pushed back and back and back. What I would do if I was him, now granted, there's a story there that they've been trying to build in the Undisputed Kingdom that Wardlow will win the championship for them, and then I guess hand it off to Adam Cole or something. I don't know. If I was Wardlow, I'd get out of this group as fast as possible. I would build on that promo that he said last night. I would go solo again and just start trying to kick people's asses and get your way to the championship. Keep cutting good promos like you did last night, but there's no point in him being in this Undisputed Kingdom group because the group sucks. Like the group's actually holding people back, which is hilarious to think about considering how long it took to build the group and reveal the group. And now I'm already at a point where like they need to get anyone involved in this that's good needs to get out of this immediately, because this is a quicksand. This is a quicksand storyline and group. Like this isn't. Would you agree, Jeremy, based on like how long they built that group and the big reveal at the pay-per-view and all this stuff? What rating out of 10 would you give the Undisputed Kingdom as a stable right now?
Oh, it hasn't been good at all. I mean, we've talked
crazy,
about
right? Like think about that though. That was your big story for like half a year, and the payoff sucks.
It didn't help that one, Cole was hurt. Two, MJF was gone after that. Like they couldn't immediately follow up with MJF. I don't think they did themselves any favors with that opening promo where they basically cut off Wardlow immediately of like, he's going to win the title and then give it to us, but we respect him. I never liked that opening promo. I much preferred, I never liked Wardlow in the group anyway, if that was how they were going to treat him. If he was going to be like, we respect him, we love him, he's going to win the title and he's going to show why he is a dominant force in AEW, cool. I'm fine with that. Right. But they immediately telegraphed the turn, or they immediately disregarded him as being some type of big deal because they were like, he's going to win the title and then just give it up to us. And that's going to be that. Like it never made sense to me why they would do that. But it was disregarded pretty quickly with him. I did like the promo last night. This is who Wardlow probably always should have been. The stuff with like, he was set up to be Batista to MJF's Triple H. What really screwed that over, the pandemic a little bit, the big signings a little bit. What really screwed that over was MJF just losing how he lost at Double or Nothing and then not selling it at all. Like he got stretchered out, but then he decided to cut the shoot promo and call Tony Khan a fucking mark and then go away off television. And then Wardlow was lost twiddling his thumbs for however long. They tried to heat him up with the TNT title, but that just wasn't for him because they made that a workhorse title. And Wardlow, no offense, he's not like that workhorse type of guy. He's a guy who should be in there just wrecking dudes. And that's what they like attempted to do. It just didn't work with the title. They had no clue what to do with him. And now they did this promo, which is great. What's the follow-up to this going to be? Because this was a great promo. How much of this great promo was Tony Khan said it before the show went on the air last night. a lot of changes had to be made to the show last night. A lot of changes, injuries, other stuff. Like, I don't know all that was detailed. I'm sure we'll get stuff, but like there had to be changes made to the show. Was Wardlow's promo just like, hey, go out there, cut a promo, and then we'll just not really talk about it the following week or next week? Like, how much of it was it that, and how much of it do they have an actual follow-up? Because we know we're getting to Revolution with Swerve and Hangman and Joe. What's coming after that? Is Adam Cole going to be healthy by then? When does MJF come back? What happens after Revolution? Who's going to be in a position to challenge for the title? Like, what's the follow-up going to be?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. Like, what will they do to follow this up? And you're totally right about the MJF stuff. Like that did really hurt Wardlow massively, because like he beat MJF, and then the next thing we know, MJF's the biggest babyface in the company. So it's like they'd almost like just erased everything Wardlow did, because now people like MJF, and like they're like, you know, the whole thing was him destroying MJF and getting rid of MJF, but people wanted him back as a babyface. So that definitely hurt Wardlow. A part of me hopes that they just like, and this would be really cool for Wardlow if this was the case. Like, if they did have to rewrite the show and make last second decisions, and just gave him a microphone and was like, dude, you got 5 minutes. Like, just, this is your shot. Like, to get everything off your chest right now. Like, and if it works, we're going to push you again. Like, maybe if that was like all Wardlow coming out there and speaking from the heart, like that was, keep doing more of that. You know, that's what's going to keep Wardlow over, is like, I want to hear him talking like this. That he was more relatable, and I could get behind more, like, based on that one promo, than the last few years of his run on television. Just that one speech he made last night made me believe way more in him than I have in a long time.
Here's what Wardlow should do to Adam Cole.
What movie is that from?
Mac and Me.
I've never seen that. Oh my gosh. That's a comedy, or is that supposed to be like actually like dramatic?
I've never seen the full clip. Chi-Town's versus Jerry Rudd. Paul Rudd does he did this bit on every time he was on Conan. You know, you go on these talk shows to like promote your show and everything. And so Paul Rudd, every time he's on Conan, he's like, oh, we got a clip from the movie. And he's like, yeah, let's play the clip from my new movie, whatever. And they would just play this one clip, this Mac and Me clip every single time. Probably just got us demonetized, but
that's whatever. So funny. I've never seen that clip before. That's a good one. Yeah, they could just roll MJ or roll Adam Cole right on his wheelchair right off the cliff. Oh, yeah, God. That's a good clip. That's a good clip. Oh man. Oh, we can move on to another AEW topic. But I'll say, yeah, once again, we'll get the super chat. But yeah, shout out to Wardlow. I legitimately thought he did a good job last night with the promo.
Chi-Town's first is perplexed that it took them 2 years to realize This Is War is better than Wardlow's World. And then Will Chisholm says, how's the group stronger when they were in the mask? Well, because, you know, they could go after MJF the entire time. So
because you didn't know it was Matt Taven and Mike Bennett.
Yeah. The other AEW spotlight is Daniel Garcia and Christian Cage is official for Revolution. Adam Copeland is apparently not cleared after the concerto last week. I assume that's storyline, but maybe he is like hurt because it seems like they've had a few injuries right now. You know, Hangman Page apparently had an ankle injury that we don't know quite how bad it is yet. I saw somebody say that Meltzer reported it was a broken ankle. We'll find out more, I assume, today.
Meltzer's been super accurate lately, so that's probably it.
But Garcia and Christian, I thought Garcia had a good promo last night. Christian bringing up dead fathers. Bless that man, he's a menace. But look, I think we're gonna get a great match at Revolution, and I think Daniel Garcia should win.
Oh yeah, me too. I say that. I feel like he probably won't, because they've done this Christian versus Edge thing is just never gonna end. So like, I feel like maybe Christian still needs to hold the title for longer so Edge can, because like Edge. Excuse me, if I remember correctly, Edge won the TNT title, right? And then like lost it right away to Christian because Christian used Luchasaurus's.
Yeah.
So I guess is the big moment still Edge winning the TNT title eventually from Christian? I don't know. But I obviously very much love the, it's such a, and I don't know how you feel about this because you're like, you actually experienced this recently, but like the whole Christian's gimmick, it's such cheap heat, but it's so good as a heel. Like he just targets people with their dad dies and he uses that as the way to target them. Now I'll say this: if my dad passed away like anytime like now, I'd be like, it'd be hard for me to watch this because I'd be like, dude, this is like so messed up. But as a fan of wrestling, Christian's never been more like it's working. And I love the way that Nick has joined him and stuff. And now they're teasing like Garcia could join because basically just going after people with dead dads. And he's been doing that, ever since the Jungle Boy feud. And then even when you hear Sting cutting one of the best promos he's cut in his career last night, and he's talking about his dad passing away, the first thing everyone's thinking about is like, what's Christian thinking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but the only reason I said any of that is because it's weird for me to say out loud that that I thought the build, they did an immediately good build between Garcia and Christian based on Christian coming out and calling out Garcia's dead dad. Like, I mean, it immediately, it's like, you know what I mean? Because like that's Christian's gimmick, and like Garcia falls into that category. So it's like immediately. But it's so weird that that's the gimmick, but it's working. So like, I think the match is going to be great. Daniel Garcia has always been a fantastic in-ring worker. I'll say this though, I'll keep it real. I have watched AEW recently with some people that aren't the biggest AEW fans or like haven't really kept up with the AEW product. Maybe to some that don't even watch that much wrestling. Every time they've seen Daniel Garcia for the first time, it starts off with a laugh because like his music and like the Tron of him doing the dance and stuff, they immediately don't take him seriously. But then when they see him wrestle, it changes. They're like, oh, okay, like never mind. But like, I don't know why they're doing this with him. Like why they've made him so goofy with the dance and the stuff. Like I know it's like, it wasn't even over last night. He did the thing and nobody cheered on the entrance ramp. I was like, what? Now this looks weird. I have a whole, it would take me an hour to talk about all the things that I'm seeing right now in AEW that I'm just like, why are you doing this way? But like, Daniel Garcia should be taken seriously. Even his pairing with Daddy Magic is weird. Although you have Daddy Magic versus the father Christian now, kind of in a way. They're both daddy.
Yeah, that's his dad right now. Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't know why they've done this the way that they've done this with so many of these people. But like,
well, look, Garcia was always supposed to join Blackpool Combat Club, and then
yes, and he should have.
Yeah, well, Chris Jericho,
right? He got in the way of that. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he was supposed to join Blackpool Combat Club. I don't mind the dancing. I think more or less it is over. People do pop for it. There was a big discussion on social media last week of like, oh, why is he dancing? Looks like a goof. It's like UFC fighters come out, they're bouncing around. Israel Adesanya's got this choreographed entrance every now and again. Like, it's fine. Then they go out there and they whoop ass. Like, it's okay. It's not a big deal to me because Garcia backs it up in the ring. So I got no issue with it. That's how he gets in his zone. That's his comfort spot right there. I think he should win the title.
It seems like it isn't a comfort spot at all. It seems like he's trying to make us look like it's his comfort spot. I feel like in real life, Daniel Garcia isn't walking around like that.
No, he says that like he does though. Like he says that like, he just busted it out one day and it just became a thing. He likes doing it. So I do think that is him. I think if he didn't like doing it, maybe he probably wouldn't. But I do think that is him. I'm looking forward to the match. I thought Christian bringing up the father certainly got the heat that it needed to get as you'd expect for it. But it was good. Yeah. He should win, and then I assume Copeland comes back and like costs Christian. Maybe. I know people think that Christian and Copeland are going to team at some point. And I do think that happens at some point. I just don't know. Maybe it doesn't cost Christian. Maybe Garcia wins and then Garcia beats Copeland and then Copeland and Christian have to unite against Daniel Garcia. And that's the way you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think Christian will reunite again for sure at some point, probably in the near future. But once again, this is just bigger problems that would take too long. But like the TNT title means nothing to me because they got enough championships. Like once it's off Christian, I'm not going to care about it. Christian's really the only reason I care about the TNT title at all. It's because him carrying it and him being so entertaining as a heel right now. But like the second he loses that, like I love Daniel Garcia. I was a huge fan of his indie run, and I've loved what he's done in AEW for the most part. My concern is more for like the more casual audience that like tunes into AEW and they're like, they see him for the first time and they're like, this is really goofy. Why is he doing this? And then they see him wrestle and it changes. But anyway, I don't really need to like, that's enough that I can talk about with all that. I don't want to sound like I'm like that down on AEW either, because I'm not. It's just little things that I've noticed recently that I'm like, I don't know why they haven't pivoted or why they're still sticking with certain stuff when like clearly the right way would be to do something a little bit different. But no, that's just me. But I think that Christian versus Garcia is going to be a good match, and it would be cool to see Garcia win. It'd be a huge win for him.
Cheesecake. The security guard's name is Cheesecake. Just want to put that up.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he does the dance. If you watch the vlogs or if you listen to a Garcia interview, you know he does the dance.
Okay.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
TNA No Surrender is tomorrow night. For those still invested in TNA after everything that has happened. You excited for this show, Jensen?
Jay, I got to pull the card up. I actually need to. I thought we were going to go into the other topipic first. So I was
sorry.
That's okay. It was never specified one way or another. Like I just assumed, which makes an ass out of you and me. It's okay. I got to pull up the card up here. Sorry, guys. TNA Wrestling.
Moose and Alex Shelley is headlining Mustafa Ali against Chris Sabin for the X Division title. Those are the two I know off the top of my head. Anything else? Josh Alexander and Simon Gotch, that's on there. Let's see. What else can I think of off the top of my head? Who are the tag team champions? ABC against Grizzled Young Vets, right? Yeah. Oh, look at me. Knockouts is Grace against Giselle Shaw, right?
Yep.
Okay. What am I missing?
You got Moose and Shelley. You got ABC versus Vets. You've got Gotch versus Alexander. You got Grace versus Shaw.
MK Ultra against Decay for the Knockouts tag titles.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the only other thing that's on the actual show, it looks like, is PCO versus Khan.
Okay, look at that. I got basically everything off the top of my head too. I know my TNA. I know my Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. There looks like a pre-show match with Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers versus Kushida and Kevin Knight, which will actually be a banger. That'd be a good match. But as far as stuff I'm looking forward to on the show, Moose and Alex Shelley we just saw, so I don't think Alex Shelley is going to win that title back right away. So I'm a little less interested in that, I guess, than I would be for a different challenger. Jordan Grace versus Giselle Shaw will be good. Ali versus Sabin will probably be the best match on the show. That match is going to be insane if they give it some time. The X Division title. Alexander and Gotch could be interesting. We don't see a whole lot of Gotch. You know, he worked pretty well in like the blood sport setting and stuff. I heard it. I think it was an interview I heard from him not that long ago where he was talking about being frustrated in the WWE and like finally like just kind of like, I don't know what the right word is. Like,
did he shoot on Enzo Amore?
Well, no, yeah. I believe it was him that I heard in this interview. This was maybe a while back, but he basically said he wasn't happy with his position in the WWE. He was kind of caught between like not being used and like thinking he was going to get fired. So he really had nothing to lose. Finally, like just kind of sacked up and like walked into Vince's office and pitched him an idea. And he's like, yeah, Vince seemed to love the idea. And I was fired 2 weeks later. It's like, like it's just kind of like the position some people get in the company. It's like you get caught in this in between. But Gotch I thought with him with the Vaudevillains, they were actually a really good team. I feel like they were kind of underrated and underused personally. So I think Alexander versus Gotch will actually be a good match. And I love Masha Slamovich, Killer Kelly, MK Ultra. I think they'll have a good match with Decay. Decay, but once again, Decay beat them for the titles. Like these are like the rematches from the last pay-per-view. So like, I feel like they could have come up with like some new matchups, but I guess that's one of my only critique.
Well, I mean, some people weren't available for tapings, and then some people were. Nick Nemeth, their big signing to close Hard to Kill, not on this show at all because he's in Japan wrestling.
Right. So kind of a weird, but once again, there's also it's a PLE type or not a PLE, whatever you call it, a premium, a Impact Plus show. So this also isn't as high stakes as like an actual pay-per-view for them. So it should be a good show. Regardless of if I'm like stoked on the card or not, the in-ring action will be good. I like the performers involved. And as far as like predictions and stuff, I just like really, I'd imagine Moose will retain. GYV might win the tag titles potentially, because it's a best out of 3 series. I could see them maybe winning the tag titles, and I think Jordan will retain. I'm really interested in that Sabin versus Mustafa match. I think that's gonna be really, really good.
I think that's gonna be the best match on the show. Mustafa Ali might win that title. I don't know.
You could see it happen. It just depends on how available he is to like defend it for sure. But that match is gonna be fire. That's gonna be good. And I think they're doing a post show here on Fightful. I'm not sure who's gonna be on it. I don't know if it's Joel and Cresta or Joel and someone or Cresta and someone. I was invited to join, but I'm unavailable. But there should be a post show, I think, for Fightful if you guys want to watch a review afterwards.
You're ducking out on the TNA. Can't believe you, Jensen.
I always make the pay-per-views. The Impact Plus shows.
Stephen Jensen's too big for the Impact Plus specials.
Well, actually, the real thing is that it's in like 3 days, and I was asked like it was actually tomorrow, and I was asked like 2 days ago, but I was already not available by then. So
too big. The other spotlight is Krule. Mads Kruger put Jacob Fatu in a body bag after beating him in what do they call a Balaki street fight.
Yeah, the pronunciation that one is the spelling is rough. Yeah, but basically, the big thing here, excuse me, was basically this was them essentially killing Jacob Fatu off of MLW. So what happens in the match is we're just gonna call him Krule, but Mads Krule Kruger. Krule threw a fireball into Jacob's face and then hit him with scorched earth, pinned him 1, 2, 3, and then Contra Unit, a bunch of the guys in the masks, they come out along with Krule and they put Jacob in a body bag and carried him out of there. The layers in this, though, that people might not know if you don't follow MLW is Jacob Fatu was the original leader of Contra Unit and Krule is the current leader of Contra. So it was like them in like gang terms, they basically jumped him out of the group. They and literally carried him out in a body bag. So it's like they're that's kind of a good way of doing this, in my opinion, as far as like if Fatu's leaving MLW, there's no more definitive way of like him leaving. You don't expect him to be back after this. He's going to go on and probably join the WWE. And you've really put over Krule massively again as like a top guy and like the biggest threat in MLW. I just have no idea what his availability is. I don't know how long he's going to stick around considering how much he has going on outside of MLW. He's still currently the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion. And he's going to have a lot of opportunities in other companies too and stuff. So like, I don't know where this looks like, long-term for Krule and MLW, but they put him in a position where he looks completely unbeatable right now. And he essentially killed Jacob off of the show. So yeah, good. This accomplished a lot for both guys. And once again, it frees Jacob up to the speculations that'll go to WWE eventually. So.
And Jacob Fatu, he said before, so this was taped at Super Fight. And that's where Fatu, he beat somebody. I forgot who Fatu, I think he beat Nagata. He beat Nagata at Super Fight. And then that's when Kruger made his return with Contra and beat him down, clubbed him in the back of the head and everything. And then, and then they taped the match, the Fatu and Kruger, and then they put him in the body bag, and that's probably the end of Jacob Fatu. Who was on our show recently that was like, how do you not make money with like Mads Kruger? Just book him as a monster.
We talked to quite a few people about him. There was someone recently though. It would have been someone from the Southeast probably that we were talking with. Was it Patrick O'Malley that we talked? It
might have been Patrick. I couldn't remember if it was Patrick or Griffin, but yeah, it would have been one of them.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, y'all, we got an interview coming up here soon that you're going to hear. with Jack Cartwheel, who returned to the show, former guest that we've had on for an interview. So please stick around for that. We forgot to mention that at the top of the show, but yeah, no, Krule's a man. Adam Priest really put over Krule when we had him on. If y'all want to check that interview out, the two of them have known each other forever.
Okay, let's move on. Sorry, I had to address something in our staff chat.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Scotty Riggs is back wrestling. Stephen Jensen.
Yeah.
American male. It's a great song.
He is. Love the American males growing up. Scotty Riggs and Marcus Bagwell, aka Buff Bagwell. And I even loved Riggs when he was part of Raven's flock with the eye patch. I was always a big Riggs guy. I liked him as Scotty Anton in ECW as well. I remember, so I'll pull the curtain back for you guys. The plan is to have Scotty Riggs on the show soon. I've been talking to him, and he returned to TCW. He hadn't wrestled in a long time, like 10 years or something, maybe longer. So it's cool to see that he's just back in general. And we'll discuss Riggs more when we have him on for the interview. But he's a guy who, and I'm not saying anything that he hasn't put out there himself plenty. He's a guy who I know has dealt a lot with like mental health and like a lot of like weight gain and depression and like that kind of stuff over the years. And there have been times where I've like kind of checked up on him because I have like a very kind of loose relationship with him because I interviewed him years ago and we just kind of stayed in touch because he's a big UFC fan. So we talk about the fights occasionally and stuff. And like, I would check in and every now and then it just really seemed like he wasn't doing good. And I'd be like, damn, like I really hope Riggs like snaps out of this. And to see what he looked like recently at this TCW show, because the show I don't think is actually available, but there's been like clips and pictures out there. He looks fantastic. And I mean, just so he's in great shape. He seems healthy. He seems positive. And I know that he's been working hard with DDP and Buff Bagwell and those guys. I mean, it's crazy what DDP is doing for all these guys, man. It's amazing. And we already know, but like, I mean, for people who don't know, you know, he's basically got the American males in the accountability crib or at least close by. I don't know the specifics, but DDP's been helping Riggs. He's been helping Bagwell. And Riggs is just, it's just really, really, really great to see the position that Scotty Riggs is in right now in his life. Like as a lifelong American males fan, lifelong Riggs fan, WCW fan, ECW fan, all this stuff. Like it is, it's inspiring to see him make his return at TCW. I'm really, really happy for him.
Real quickly on the Hangman Page front, Sean is saying that Hangman was just selling and he's fine. So there you go.
So the report from Meltzer earlier today about a serious ankle injury. Was that a Russell report?
What's that?
Did Meltzer actually report? And by the way, I like Dave Meltzer. I don't want to sound like I'm like just trashing the dude here today on the show, but like the last couple of weeks have not been good for him. And this is just going to be another pile on if he's talking about an ankle injury that hasn't happened.
I saw somebody on our chat post that. I quickly looked it up. I've not listened to the audio myself. Apparently they said Hangman Page could have a broken ankle. It does appear to be a serious ankle injury. So That's what was said. And now John is saying that like, no, doesn't have any type of ankle injury. So
well, hopefully he doesn't, because I want to see the triple threat on the pay-per-view. You know, and more importantly, I don't want Hangman to be hurt, of course, as a human being. I don't want that to happen to him. But yeah. So yeah, once again, we'll talk about Riggs more when we have him on the show. So I just wanted to let people be aware that like he came back and he's back in wrestling. And if the last time you saw him, he was, you know, a few 100 pounds heavier with a gigantic Santa Claus beard and like didn't seem like he was in good spirits, it looks like he's turned it around, man. You love to see it. As when you're a fan of these guys growing up and then your heroes like start going on rough times. It sucks watching it happen. And then to see him turn it around, man, it's credit to him, credit to DDP, credit to everybody involved that just looking out for each other and helping people out when they need it. So it was great to see.
The other indie spotlights, he's got Butterbean back on track too. And hopefully Butterbean knocks out Cole Radrick. The other indie spotlights is Michael Oku against Will Ospreay from RevPro High Stakes, which is going to be Ospreay's last independent match for the time being, and he's going to be on AEW TV next week, building towards Revolution in his match against Takeshita.
Yeah. So the Michael Oku versus Ospreay match was incredible. It was the best match I've seen in quite a while. I can't do it justice. Y'all can find the match in the clips if you want to, but I mean, just some of the stuff that they were doing, like that reverse tombstone that Oku hit was insane. I've seen Ospreay take that like once before from somebody. It's just such a brutal looking spike pile driver reversal. But they had like reversals on reversals, like hidden blade reversals into poison ranas into hidden blades, and Ospreay's or Oku's valet like took the hidden blade for him at one point and stuff. And, like
Amira is her name.
Oh, Amira, yeah. Sorry, the name was escaping me at the moment. But I mean, there was the match was insane. It was absolutely insane. It was cool to see Oku get the win because like he's going to be the one at least sticking around for at least for now. But he'll get signed. It's just a matter of time for him also. But it's cool. Like Ospreay's officially all elite. He's going to be going to AEW full time. Going to be wrestling Takeshita soon. And Tony Khan was in the crowd just marking out, which I respect that. For any criticism you can give to Tony Khan, I understand criticisms towards Tony in a lot of ways. I get it. But one thing I do still love about Tony is that he is a wrestling mark, and that like he still is like he looked like he was having the time of his life cheering on Orange Cassidy, who made his surprise appearance in his match, and just like during like you can just tell how happy and proud he is that he locked down Will Ospreay. It's like he's out there celebrating that like he got him, and because you know that Ospreay is going to be the AEW World Champion. It's just a matter of when they want to actually pull the trigger and do that, but Ospreay will be the top guy in AEW probably pretty fast when he comes over, as he should be. He's the best in-ring wrestler in the world, in my opinion, right now. He's in his prime, and he's a worldwide attraction. And he's gonna sell out. Wembley's gonna do good either way, probably when they go there. But Ospreay's the cherry on top, where he'll be marketed as the main event there every year that he's there. And it's just Will Ospreay's a complete game changer for AEW. So I think that him having his last independent match against Michael Oku, that was the perfect way to go out. And one of the best matches you're going to see on the independent scene all year, probably maybe the best match you're going to see all year, period. And Ospreay puts over Oku. I mean, on the way out. What more can you ask for?
Yeah. It was a great match. And if you've not seen it, I encourage everybody to go check it out. The intensity was really off the charts. The crowd was super into everything. Michael Oku, he's been a guy at the top of a list of like, hey, pay attention to this guy. I think back to even just with the PWG stuff when Jericho made his surprise appearance at PWG. Oku was a big part of that. I suspect he'll be signed by somebody pretty soon. But I'm glad, like, for now, there's a lot of people getting signed and not a lot of spots for people. Like, it's okay to stick around on the independents for a little bit and continue to just hone your craft and build yourself up on that.
Sure. In AEW alone, you got Ospreay, Okada, and Mercedes all coming in like around the same time. So it's a game changer for AEW, but like you said, it is less spots for other people for sure.
Yeah. Jensen, I know you got to run. Let everybody know where they find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at @FightTalk_. Use code FightTalk on IndependentWrestling.tv. Listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. It's every Sunday on FightfulSelect.com. Unless every now and then it's Monday, just depending on if there's like a big Sunday show. I waited until RevPro was over to record this week, but I still got it out on Sunday for y'all. So check that out. Go subscribe to Fightful Select. I'm not big on Discord, but I know that we have one now, like Jeremy was mentioning, and I know that if you're a part of FightfulSelect.com, you can get into the Discord. So if you're interested in that, go subscribe to Fightful Select to listen to the Weekender or get in the Discord or check out all the news they got over there and stuff. So FightfulSelect.com. And once again, thank you to everybody. I mentioned at the top of the show, my promotion finally happened. We don't have to talk about my shoe job like ever again on the show, probably, which is great. I'm going to go clock in for my job. So good to see everyone this morning. Good seeing you, Jeremy. And hope you all have a great Thursday and a great weekend.
Thanks, buddy. Well, we'll be back next week. Until then, we do have a great interview with Jack Cartwheel here coming up right now. Let's get into it. Waste no more time. Jack Cartwheel joined us. You've seen him on ROH television. He's basically a featured person on ROH here in the past couple of months. Big still working the independents, GCW. You know him from all the cartwheels, all the great cartwheels. So here we go. I got to actually load it up because I did not load it up beforehand because my internet was being super annoying. But here we go. Interview with Jack Cartwheel here on the Creator Spotlight.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight on Fightful. I am Stephen Jensen, joined as always by Jeremy Lambert. And our guest today is a returning guest. He is Jack Cartwheel, a.k.a. Jack Cartwheel. He's been all over the world.
Goodness.
Yes.
Coming straight out with it.
I will. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. You've been all over the world since we talked last. You were on the show like close to a year ago, like 9 or so months ago last. So a lot has happened. Jack, welcome back to the show. How you been?
Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm good. I'm doing well. Just doing cartwheels every day, man. What else?
Yes. Well, dude, I mean, most recently, did you just get back from Tijuana? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So that was I mean, my weekends go like that, you know, every weekend in terms of it's traveling a lot. So that was an 8-hour drive total, but we did 2.5 of it the night of, like after the show, and then made the rest of the 5.5 to Sacramento for SPW last night, Supreme Pro Wrestling, where I was originally trained. So it's really cool to still be able to do those shows.
Hell yeah. Overall experience. I know you said it was really cool, but like, who did you really enjoy like working with in this stint in Tijuana you just had?
Oh man, working with Mr. Iguana is awesome, dude. Like, cause I mean, he doesn't seem as like opposing physically, you know, and then he goes out in the ring and does like 17 tijeras in like one go. Not at this particular match, but when I was tagging with him last time, it was like that. And he's really good with the language barrier things, although my Spanish is getting a lot better working with Mexico, like fairly often. So so I mean, Mecha Wolf, like as well, he was also in the match. Conan is the guy. I couldn't put him over, like that's like he's Conan, and just everybody else in AAA. Like I could put them all over one by one, but it was just great time.
Yeah. I was wondering about traveling around the world. You know, you've been to Japan, Mexico, obviously all around the United States, and like how much, if at all, your style or your mindset changes working in front of a different audience. Yeah,
I mean, a lot. I would say that in Mexico, it's a little bit easier to do some spotty matches, you know, and just play to the crowd a lot more, and that being okay, rather than kind of the more hero style and stuff with a lot more selling and a lot more athleticism and much more serious ideals throughout the match, you know, depending on where you're at, you know, there's a spectrum of it. But yeah, and just those types of things. And I know I'm going to stand out in Mexico already, so I just got to continue doing my style, doing my things. And if it works somewhere, at least try it somewhere else. And if it doesn't there, then you got to switch it up. But I've been doing pretty much the same stuff, and it's been working fairly well. I guess I'll tweak it a little bit, but more on the attitude that day rather than the show as a whole.
I mean, cartwheels are, I feel like, pretty universal. Everyone knows what a cartwheel is.
Well, I mean, yes, for sure. But I mean, when I was doing the shows in Japan, I was saying Sokuten is a cartwheel Japanese. So like I would be introduced as Sokuten no, which would be like cartwheel king. And then Vuelta de Carro is it in Spanish. However, like every time I do I'd yell it out, it doesn't get over as much in Spanish. I'm not sure if it's like it is cartwheel, but like people don't really say it or something like that. But when I've been like Vuelta de Carro and like before a DVD or whatever it is, Sokuten worked a lot better.
How do you I've always been fascinated with like just how international and worldwide professional wrestling is. How do you overcome the language barriers? Because I mean, you're traveling in a whole bunch of different countries. You said your Spanish is getting a little bit better. You just had a little bit of was that Japanese just then? So like how do you overcome that as a wrestler? I mean, you work with people from all over the world, like putting spots together and stuff like that. How does that work?
I mean, so putting spots together is certain things. I mean, there's videos, there's ideas. Like hopefully I research the person before I go meet them and stuff. That's part of it. But then the traveling aspect, I feel like I listen to music a lot. I listen to podcasts a lot. Like I'll kind of be in my own world for a lot of the time before actually getting to the venue, you know? So there's a good amount of that, and that could be good or bad because sometimes I'm not actively trying to soak in things, and it's like, oh, let's kind of focus on where we're at right now, make sure I'm okay before I get to the venue and focus on other things. But yeah, calling spots in the match. There's been English speakers in other places, which has helped a lot, and then also for Spanish, at least, I didn't really do it too much for Japanese calling, but I would practice like writing down the actual spots and the actual words in like how in lucha libre words, you know. Yeah, so those types of things.
Recently in the JCW J Cup, you were part of the first round. You're part of the scramble match in the first round, and I don't know how Orange Crest or Brett puts it together, who they decide is going to be in the scramble compared to who's going to get the tournament. But the scramble match, you're in there with Cole Radrick, and Cole Radrick attempts to do stuff. This might have been the 12-man tag, but yeah. I bring this up because he wasn't good. He's trying to do flips and rolls. He's trying to do his own cartwheel. Like, could you just like kick him in the face? And
I could get into it. You know, so I mean, for maybe the span of 18 hours, a span of like 18 hours, something about the scramble that happened the night before, something got into my brain for just a little bit. And all of a sudden I wasn't as excited to see cartwheels for just that one show, just for a little bit of time, you know? And I was just letting him make a fool of himself, but the crowd didn't know what they were even cheering for. Did you see those rolls? How terrible the forward roll, the terrible backwards roll, the terrible cartwheel, and they were going crazy for it. Then I attack him. He ducks me. He trips me. Then he hits a good one. So
I mean, maybe a 6. Like if I'm being generous because we like Cole, maybe it's a 6.
But, yeah, it is. There was. I hear what you're saying, but what was good is there was a good distinction of how bad the first one was and the second one.
Yeah,
that's why I think that it kind of worked a little bit because that same spot I tried to do in Japan, and he said he was going to do a bad cartwheel, and it was a good one, and like I was really confused in the moment, and yeah, I don't know, there's some stuff. Yeah, he did some cartwheels. We had some fun.
Cole's got to work on these cartwheels. He's got to leave it to you.
True. Wait, yeah, we talked about this earlier. Yes, Cole does have to work on his cartwheels. Come on, Cole.
We love Cole, but he's got to stop with cartwheels. Can't do it.
Speaking of those JCW shows for the J Cup weekend, so Jack Cartwheel made an appearance. So I knew something was off the second you came out with Team Broski, and you were wearing like, was it a button up or like a sweater?
Yeah. A button up. Nice button up dress shirt.
Nice button up dress shirt. And I see the team coming out, and I'm like, that doesn't really fit in with these guys. Like, why? And even the commentary, I think it was Prazak on commentary, was like, wait, what's Jack Cartwheel doing out there with these guys? What's going on? And I see what's going on. You start faking and doing the, and I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty funny. And then during the match, you go viral along with your whole team when you take Cole Radrick, and the rest of your team takes Cole Radrick. Someone's got a fish hook in. They got double ankle locks. Tony Deppin's pelvic thrusting, and you're in the background, and you're spamming the cartwheels. And you're so good at cartwheels, Jack, that I had multiple people, because I clipped that video and I tweeted it, and I had multiple people reach out to me and say, I thought this was a looping GIF because of like they were looking at you and didn't realize that it wasn't a loop. Like you're just that good at like just the repetitive cartwheels. So if you could just tell us a little bit about Jack Cartwheel, and then also kind of going viral with that spot. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Jack Cartwheel is something I've just very recently started to work on. I've always thought it'd be really cool to try it out, or at least have some fun with it. And it's so funny because it's so against like what it should mean to be a bad guy and like upset and like mean and stuff. But it could be so bad in the other direction, that it's like, oh, I'll cartwheel through a puddle of your blood, like how like some like oh, you're crying on the ground and I'm here cartwheeling, having a good time at your misery, you know. So stuff like that, or maybe like you take it in another direction of like, oh, I'm the only one who should be able to do these cartwheels because mine are better than everybody else's, or maybe like just everybody else sucks at cartwheel. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was a fun idea and I was glad that I got to do it. It's not something that I want to be, you know, but it was a good time for sure. And I mean, that spot necessarily, I was debating it a lot of the time throughout that day, if I should go back and forth, or if I should go doon to doon to doon and try to stay in the same spot. I think I could have stayed in the same spot, but it's definitely a lot more difficult to try to like bounce back this opposite rotation because you're going that way, you know? But I think it worked out well the way it was. And there's more cartwheels coming for sure. Yeah.
What's a big difference between wrestling on the independent scene and then doing stuff like ROH television when it comes to television wrestling, just in general? I know you have less time on ROH TV, but what's like some of the biggest differences in trying to work for the television audience compared to the independent audience?
I'd say that there's the biggest differences have been like being able to get help from agents for sure before and after the match, whether that's being able to kind of plan the idea and the story of the match better, or whether it's understanding what could have been better and looking back at it, and stuff seems so much clearer after, and you have a different set of eyes, you know, to get into it. The same with like planning the match as itself, that you have a separate set of eyes looking in, they can see those things that you probably wouldn't be able to see. So that's been huge. I mean, time is huge, like being on certain time cues and being able to make the most out of that time, and being able to listen and stuff in the ring, and being able to adjust for sure. And as you said, I mean, I don't have as much practice with it, but also just really small details and stuff. And I've gotten really good feedback, and that's important, that they're being nitpicky about those things. And they're like, I'm sure like this was fine, but it's not fine anymore because people can pause this and look it back over, and you're representing the company, you're representing a brand. It means a lot more than just doing something, and you're trying to win a damn job, dude. You're trying to like make it here. So yeah, it's very different with nitpicky stuff and timing and whatnot. But the crowd reaction has seemed fairly similar, but that's just with AEW crowd. I'm sure that WWE is very different.
Well, you're getting "We Want Cartwheels" chants, like even when you're not wrestling. So just put it out there. That is huge. That is, even like when good wrestlers in there, guys like Willie Mack and stuff for wrestling, people are going, "We want Cartwheels." So I'm like, they want more Jack Cartwheel. I'm here for it. It's also hell yeah. It's also cool to see. Like you mix it up with Blake Christian, for instance, in Ring of Honor, and like you could also see the two of y'all wrestling for the GCW World Championship. That was just earlier this month. What's your opinion, just kind of Blake Christian in general right now? I mean, obviously he's been the GCW World Champion for quite a while, but he's been a regular in Ring of Honor as well, and formerly in the WWE for a short stint, kind of during the pandemic. But kind of, what are your thoughts on Blake Christian overall right now?
Yeah, just congratulations to him, man. He's making money on TV there. He's making money at GCW. He's being a dickhead to a crowd here. He's being a dickhead to a crowd there. He's doing what he does really well. We had a really killer match a couple weeks ago in Arizona. According to one Instagram person, they said it was the best match of the night, but that was that one guy like 17, like wrestling 7-4-2 or whoever. He thought it was good, so I'll take his opinion. But yeah, Blake Christian's doing well. He's doing dope. I wish I could one day get at that same level. He's done the things that I want to do, and I think I'm pretty close. And it felt really good to be wrestling with him at Ring of Honor too. Even if he did win the one or two of those matches at the end, the crowd loves him. He's man, actually, I don't want to say this, because my Nana, I put him on the screen for like one moment, and my Nana called him her boyfriend, and I'm wrestling him next week in Arizona. So He's doing good.
I love that. I love watching you guys wrestle each other. I think you guys complement each other really well. And even just little things like at one point, I think I remember seeing like you went for like a clothesline and you like blocked it with a cartwheel. Like even stuff like that, like or like you go for a cartwheel and he'll like kick your arms out from under you or something. It's just like so. I love watching you guys wrestle. It's cool. It's cool seeing all you guys just kind of from the independent scene, but also going back and forth, with Ring of Honor. Who else have you really like? I guess enjoyed wrestling in Ring of Honor specifically because it's cool once again just seeing all these worlds kind of like meshing together right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got to work with Slim J a couple times. That was awesome. It was really cool because I really wasn't too familiar with his work before, and now that I see it's awesome. He's great. We're very similar in like body type, and he's got a whole lot of grit and dog to him, and I love to see that in somebody, just whoever it is. Willie Mack too. I mean, we work great in AAA all the time, so it was cool to be able to work with him in Ring of Honor. Gravity, I see all the time. That's my guy. We're super close now. I'm trying to think of who else like I've really tangoed with in there. AR Fox is amazing.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah, he puts it. He goes hard, which is exactly what we want and what ROH could and should be. I could get a lot more into that and like how like let's get it. Let's do a lot. So. Yeah, there are tons of dudes. Everyone's been awesome. Alex Zane was there. Blake Christian, as you guys mentioned. Brian Keith with the debut match. I've gotten a lot of really good stuff from that match, and that definitely put me on a certain level to continue to go up the same way he did. So it's good. It's good. A lot of people to thank.
And I've seen a little tease between you and Action and Andretti potentially too. So maybe some teaming there in the future. That'd be cool.
Potentially. I mean, I know that there's been a tiny bit of talk, like my name was mentioned at some point throughout the summer for that to be some type of idea from some people just because of us talking, I guess. But I mean, nothing's tangible about that or like actually legitimately happening. I thought that was just me trying to be proactive backstage, trying to take some videos and make some content when we weren't sure who has matches or not. And I'm like, hey, bro, like, let's make this video real quick. So, yeah, it could be cool. I think it would be awesome. I think it would be great. I think like that, man, that would be killer. But hopefully someday that'd be dope.
Staying on ROH, but kind of circling back to the television aspect of it, because you are, I mean, more or less a regular on ROH right now. Like you're basically on TV every single week, which is great to see. Is there like an agent that like is assigned to your matches because they have familiarity with everything?
Yeah. So I was going to get a little bit into that with who like I wanted to put over, but those are the people I like wrestled against and stuff. But yeah, there's been some of the, I don't know if I should like name them by name. Do people talk about like who their specific agents are?
Yeah, we've had people on before.
But yeah, Tony Nese is really dope. Ari Davari helps out all the time with me. And like those two dudes have been really helpful with like the specifics is what I was saying, that they were like, yo, these types of things like breaking up a pin with intent rather than just kind of stopping it, those things like actually kind of when you beg to the crowd, it doesn't make you look great. It should come from within. Just having your eyes with a certain intent and stuff like that. So those two dudes for sure like have helped so much. Sanjay Dutt has helped a lot as well. And Serpentico is absolutely amazing. Just there's a lot of really amazing people who are backstage who are all brilliant and there to help the talent become better and become more than just what Ring of Honor is right now, then build it to just blow it up and blow it up and blow it up the way that wrestling as a whole is just going to continue to expand.
Now you've teamed with Serpentico. You just mentioned him. He helps out. You've also faced a man named John Cruz. Do you notice any similarities between them?
I haven't seen them in the same room at the same time that I think of it, but I know that they don't like each other.
Yeah, that's very true.
I believe they don't like each other. So maybe that's because of that beat that they want to stay away. I know Nyla Rose may even be friends with John Cruz to an extent, that they have beef with each other that way.
Well, Nyla definitely doesn't like Serpentico. That's well known.
So I think she's working with him to get back at Serpentico, and that's going to come down sometime, dude.
That would make a lot of sense. Nyla's fantastic. She's amazing on social media.
Yes. That's but just working with those people is really good. You asked about them being in. I don't know. I've never seen them in the same room though.
I do have to ask about Whitney Cummings mentioned you on her Instagram stories, and just the legend that is Jack Cartwheel. We were briefly talked about it off air before we came back on, but yes, being Whitney Cummings' favorite wrestler, what is that like?
What is it like? It's great. It's great. I get to wake up every day and have that validation that this beautiful celebrity approves of my work. That's great to hear. No, for real. Like it's really fun. We've talked a couple times, and I got to hang out with her this one time. She had like a whole viewing thing at her party. I could get into that. There was like all these celebrities and stuff. It was really, really cool. I shouldn't have been there, but I was, and we had a good time. And so
I want to know more about this now.
Yeah, for sure. We want to know names.
Like it was the showing of her roast that was showing on OnlyFans. She had like a pool party of people who like came to go to her house to watch the viewing as it came out at night, like that day. And Johnny Knoxville was there, and like John Lovitz was there, and like some other comedians and stuff. There was a lot of YouTubers. I don't know if you know these people, but like Jeff Wittick, Tanamo, like just really.
Yeah, you can name those names on this show. I'm gonna know.
There was some other stars that were there who were more in that industry as well, but just really cool for me to be there and hang out and meet these people. And yeah, I hope I get around the scene again. And I think it's really what stuck out about the Cartwheels is it's very comedic just in its nature, like, but the very first time like she mentioned me, or I mentioned, we really texted, she was like, it was so funny how you would like taunt them with the cartwheels, you would slam them and then do a cartwheel, and it's like, oh, this is what your cartwheel would look like, and that this is what mine, and she loved it. It got really over with her and her friends, and then it just went from there, I guess. So she came to a show. It's a Lucha Vavoom. It's a like super LA crowd. So she came to the show, saw the cartwheels, like really liked them. And yeah, they came again this last week. So this was like a year ago, and then that's now.
This is fascinating to learn that Whitney Cummings is like this big of a wrestling fan. I did not realize this.
Yeah, I mean, it could be those shows are definitely like they're half burlesque, half wrestling. So you'll have a lucha show or a lucha mask, and then like a burlesque dancer, maybe a comedian dancer or something like that. So like it's a very LA crowd, but like yeah, she goes to those shows though is the point. Yeah, she hopefully she comes next time. I don't know. Yeah.
Did you get to talk to Knoxville at all about wrestling? You got that similarity with
I definitely did. Yeah. He put it over. He said it was fun to do and it was hard to do. And I'm trying to remember if he said he'd do it again. But yeah, I talked about that for a minute. I'm sorry. I know I said Johnny Knoxville, but it was Steve-O. Now I think of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Gotcha.
I said Johnny Knoxville, but it was Steve-O. Yeah.
Well, Steve-O does have a little experience with the wrestling as well. Umaga beat the hell out of him that one time. I remember that. Yeah, man. He's really turned it around. Did you have any other celebrities or anyone that like messages you on social media that's just randomly hits you up and says, "Hey, I saw this clip of you. Like, I'm a fan."
Not too much. Not really. I wouldn't say so. But I did one time. I was almost gonna wrestle at Fluffy's birthday party, but I didn't get there in time because I was also wrestling in Tijuana the same night. And I tried to leave, and we tried to make it, and we didn't make it. But we still got to like hang out at the birthday party after the show was over, so that was cool. But nobody else really in the DMs like that, I guess.
Yeah, he's a big wrestling fan. He was at Raw this past.
Yes,
Yeah. So I know he's a big wrestling fan.
Sorry. He did the promo with Samoa Joe. I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I want to ask about integrating cartwheels like into different moves. Is there anything that you kind of have in mind of like, I think I can integrate a cartwheel into doing this that you haven't been able to maybe either fully flesh out or try in the ring yet?
Yes, yeah, I got some right here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying to cartwheel through the ropes from like if I take a Rana and I put my hands down, then kind of over the second, under the third onto the apron.
Okay,
I think it's possible to do it like that. I'm trying to do like if it could be throwing a punch, it could be throwing a clothesline. You catch it kind of in that hook of your shoulder, do a cartwheel here, and then you're hooked for like any type of arm submission. Those are the two most recent ones. There was just cartwheeling out of the front face lock. I know that it looks a little bit different, but maybe if you go to the back first and then cartwheel over. There's a lot, and some of them are a lot harder than they feel like at first, and some of them are easier. Like the clothesline one I've done tons of times, like in training. That one's easy. But then there's another one that's a lot like an escalera, right? For so fucking goes for the chop, catch, chop them, second rope, top rope. Then I wanted to cartwheel over the corner and land on the other ropes on the other side of the corner, then jump into a Rana, and I busted my lip trying to do it because I fell right into the corner trying it. Yeah, some of them are easy, some of them are hard, but there's a lot I'm working on.
Oh, I love that you have a notebook.
This,
and you just write it down like as it comes to you. I assume that's fantastic. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I wanted to. Actually, I got a couple more questions. I'll ask this one first. I remember you talking to us last time about your gymnastics background and how some of like a Sasuke special, you're pretty much like doing that like in gymnastics already.
Yes.
Do you still go back to gymnastics like fairly often to like just like create new stuff?
Sometimes, not too much, but it'll be more like I have the trampoline in the backyard, so I'll definitely go out there and practice stuff, whether it's just basics to get the body flowing, or whether it's like trying those moves, trying to pretend that somebody's doing it. But as far as like actual open gym and stuff, I haven't been back in a while. I know that I try to I hung out with my gymnastics friends not too long ago, and we talked about going to like a real gym, trying some stuff, but I haven't in a while. Maybe strength stuff though, like some bar things, but not as much for wrestling, except for that cast handstand thing that I do on the ropes.
Did you by chance see? There's like a video that's gone around the last day or so. It's two girls that are gymnasts, and they're doing a Spanish fly with. I think they like just maybe discovered, like, seen it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen that video or if you like have any opinion on that, because I saw a lot of people in the comments that were like, "Sign these girls, NXT, and it was like, I was kind of just funny, like, but it reminded me of like how strong of a base gymnastics would be for professional wrestling. You'd have such a head start on the athleticism aspect of this, obviously.
Man, yeah, I think I've seen that exact video that you're talking about, but it may have not been a Spanish fly, I've seen a video maybe like 2 or 3 months ago of these two girls trying tons of wrestling moves. Like there was a suit, and it was all off of this big cheese block onto a big resi mat. So I mean, that's the big part. That's the part that, but yeah, like a superplex off it, like moonsault, the Spanish fly, the shooting star stuff. And I mean, that's not the barrier of entry into wrestling. Your athleticism is not the barrier of entry to make it in doing this, I guess. And I'm not even sure if I know exactly what it is. However, there's tons of athletic people out there. If they wanted to wrestle, they could try out and they could get however far they wanted to, but it's about being able to do that every single week for so long, and being able to prove that you can do that, take the bumps and the stories and all this other stuff. And I mean, if they can get signed, do go ahead. Like, I mean, tons of NIL people doing it every single week. I mean, sure. Congrats. It's not going to take away from what I'm doing right now. So if anything, it adds to it. I mean, that's good. I hope they get signed. I hope everyone gets signed, but there's only a certain amount of money that can go around, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
As we start to wind down here, Jack, the one thing that we ask everybody, I don't remember, were you on the show when we did Coolest Thing in your room? Did we ask you that?
Oh, I think I was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I didn't love what I showed, but yeah.
Shot at Redemption now. If you have Coolest Thing in your room.
You know what? I have so I'm not in my room right now, but I'm in the living room. There's the keyboard is right here. Got a little keyboard, or sorry, like the little piano. If you want me to play a little something.
Yes, I definitely want to see what you could play.
Let me see. Because every now and then I'll play something, and I feel like it's just the same couple songs every time.
Got to stick to what you know. Stick to the good stuff.
All right. Okay. This is it's called "Don't Stop Believing."
Okay.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I learned off YouTube actually. That
was this a recent thing that you just started watching YouTube videos and it's like, I'm gonna learn how to play piano, play keyboard?
It exactly was that, but maybe more like 8th grade to freshman year. And
okay.
I've kept some of the songs, and then some I've forgotten, and every now and then I'll like learn a random new song, but it's maybe like a couple months I'll be like, oh, let's try a new one.
There you go. That's fantastic. We've never had anyone do like a talent on the show during that. So that is a first.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I could show you my mom's menorahs. We have those out.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Those
I
are
would
cool too. Those
yes.
are cool too. Wait, no, my bad. Those are regular Shabbat candles.
Oh, that's okay. I'm being Jewish myself. I very much appreciate the menorahs. So I've got just like a cheap, like, Walmart menorah in my place, but at least got something. But every year I think about upgrading, and then I just don't. But I wish I had every time it comes around.
Man, I thought they were right there. Unless they're no. Okay, my bad. I thought they were there.
That's okay. The last thing I wanted to say today, there was a quote that I wanted to read you, and it's actually a quote that I have used many times over the last close to a year, and I think it's a quote you may appreciate, you may recognize. It says, "It's great that I still get to do this, and I love the cartwheels, and I think every single day, doing a cartwheel when you're happy, doing a cartwheel when you're sad, there's a lot to it. I'm just glad that I get to do it and people love it. When you see people doing cartwheels, you're not thinking of bad things. Let's think about cartwheels. Why think of these terrible things? We can think about cartwheels this time." That's a quote from Jack Cartwheel. Last time he was on the show.
Let's go.
And it was the most wholesome quote we've ever had on this show. I've referenced it many times. I've told people, like, when you're feeling down, like, I just think about this dude who does cartwheels. Like legitimately, I've used that when I've felt down. I like watching your matches. I like seeing you do the cartwheels. And part of it that I love so much is that I know you love it so much. So I just want to leave people on that note. That's a quote that I use all the time. I think it's very, very wholesome, very true.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. Thank you so much. That's a good one. I didn't remember spitting that, but I'm glad I did.
Yes.
Well, I guess I do. That is a big idea around Jack Cartwheel, as the face, as the person who wants to spread joy and have a good time in the match and give the people who are in the stands a time to celebrate and just enjoy and have fun. So thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. Let everybody know where they can find you at, what you got coming up.
Yeah, so you could get my Instagram is Jack Cartwheel. I've just recently started a new Facebook page of Jack Cartwheel. That's not my personal account, so I wanted to do more stuff on that. It's a lot easier to promote myself when it's not my other life. So also Twitter is Jack Cartwheel as well. YouTube, I also just started posting a lot more on YouTube, is also Jack Cartwheel. And I have coming up soon Demand Lucha on March 21st, me and Joey Janela one-on-one for the Demand Lucha Championship. I've held it for 3 months already, and he's going to try to take it from my hands. Not going to happen. That's then. I have GCWs coming up in St. Louis and Atlantic City. later in Los Angeles. And then for this upcoming week, not too much, but yeah, some secret stuff, I guess.
There you go. Go ahead, Jensen.
Really quick, last one. There was something I forgot to ask you that I was on the tip of my tongue, and I just came back to me right as we were wrapping up. You tweeted something the other day that was fascinating to me. I just want to know if this is legitimate. You said, I got to be the only pro wrestler to ever wrestle in Mexico and play a college football game within 24 hours. You actually did that?
Yes. And it was a bad decision. I probably shouldn't have done it the way that I did. But yeah, completely. We had a walkthrough at 3. The show started at 8. So I'm living in Orange County, 2.5 hours from like the venue in Tijuana. So do the walkthrough, like go to the venue, get there, do the show, get home at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., get up, go to the game, and I had a terrible game. It's not like the worst game ever, but like I definitely felt really groggy. You know, I don't play too much, so I don't blame the loss on me. But I definitely didn't feel as great. I didn't have the best blocks ever. But yeah, I played fullback. So the night before, I want to say it was like, but it was for AAA, and I can't remember the exact match. It was like a 6-man tag, I believe, though. So yeah, full on, do walkthrough, go to Mexico, change, get in your gear, wrestle in front of 2,000 people, change out of the gear, walk across the border, get back in the car, drive 2.5 hours back to Orange County, go to sleep, wake up, put on your football warm-up set, get some team breakfast, and then head to the stadium, I guess. But yeah, it was really interesting stuff, because I mean, we talked a little about the NIL stuff, and I was like, dude, I was the only person who was actually doing that, you know, who was actually like that. And the thing is, that wasn't the only time that I did it. That was in Mexico. I also did the same thing for PWG a couple weeks later, but that was on a Sunday, where I played the game on Saturday and then wrestled on Sunday and missed film. Yeah. So.
Man, that's a different level grind. Doing a wrestling trip to another country, wrestling, and then within the same calendar day, you're in a football game. Do your teammates, like, do they even like recognize that? Do they ask you like how it was, or are you just like Superman kind of like repeat? You know, you're kind of Clark Kent around them, and they don't really know much about what you're doing over the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a little bit like that. Some people knew because they've gone to some of the shows. Like one time I had a good like 20 people come to like the small indie show in like Stanton, I guess. So I think a lot of them thought it was like that, you know. So until I post like a lot of good videos, and so they think some of it's like that. Sometimes it's complete opposite, where I'm wrestling in front of tons of people. But it's funny you say that. There was the one time I after I debuted at PWG, I posted like this I don't remember if you know the meme of the girl at the party who's like getting her like ear talked off by like the dude, and I commented like, this is me at frat parties saying that people don't know that I'm one of Dave Meltzer's favorite wrestlers. But I don't know if I'm still there, but he said that right after the debut, and I was like, this is literally me like trying to talk to a girl, be like, yeah, I'm a pro wrestler. Dave Meltzer even likes it. He thought it was good. He said I could even win the J Cup one day. She's like, what?
I love that. Yeah,
and then somebody one day is gonna be like, yeah, but he only gave your last match 3 3/4 stars. Like, he only respects people that he gives 4 1/4 to. That's it. So
yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thanks for answering those extra questions there at the end. That literally came to me right as we were wrapping up. I knew there was something else I wanted to ask you about, and that was it. So.
Of course, yeah, it's a great story, and I love telling it, because I mean, I think that it does like kind of represent a lot about me. That is, I'm trying to go out and experience as much as I can, you know. So yeah, thank you. Of course, I'd answer.
We appreciate it, Jack. Again, thank you again for joining us tonight. Check out all the links below. Keep up with Jack, everything he's got going on. I'm sure we'll see him on ROH television here very shortly. Thank you again, Jack. And guys, we'll be right back here on the Spotlight. Big thank you to Jack Cartwheel for joining us in the Creator Spotlight. Big thank you to everybody who has joined us today, leaving super chats, leaving comments in the chat. We really appreciate it. If you left a thumbs up on this video, if you subscribe to the channel or subscribe to our sister channel, Fightful Overbooked, where we have a bunch of great shows every single day going up over there in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with myself and Joel Pearl from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern. We had a great interview with Moose yesterday. We are scheduled. This is a spoiler for the loyal Spotlight audience. We are scheduled to be joined by Fuego del Sol tomorrow on In the Weeds. We're working everything out, but fingers crossed we get that hooked up. Fuego's supposed to join us tomorrow. Hopefully. Again, I don't like saying these things, but sometimes you got to say them to hopefully make them come true. So, but if Fuego doesn't join us, we still have a great show. One of the best shows we've ever done. Everyone can check out again our interview we did with Moose yesterday on the show. Check out Coexisting with Rob and Maggie tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern on Fightful Overbooked. Check out Indeed with Reg and Mike yesterday on Fightful Overbooked. We have a new show coming. We have a couple of new things coming actually on the channel. We will talk about those more when they come to fruition. But a couple things coming on the channel here, maybe starting this week, hopefully. Again, I'll provide more details when get things locked down over there. Again, we appreciate it, guys. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Wrestling was kind of take a break last weekend. There's a lot going on in the world of wrestling this weekend. We got the TNA show tomorrow night, along with the usual SmackDown and Rampage. Collision is back on Saturday. There's two big New Japan shows, New Japan and Sapporo. There is, of course, Elimination Chamber. So wrestling is definitely back in full force this weekend. So if you got your break last weekend, there's no shortage of stuff to watch this weekend. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys next week here on the Spotlight. Have a good weekend, everybody.